All right. Hi, good morning, guys. This is Deb Harris at Rewired Health and Wellbeing in Wurrunggeri. And I help busy entrepreneurs 40 to 55, men and women, to help them feel better, get out of burnout by minimizing exercise, eating more, training less, and replenishing their adrenals. Lately, the more that I've worked with clients that are entrepreneurs, it's become more and more apparent that their bodies are under a lot of pressure to be continuously pumping out work, be a mum or dad, really busy all the time, and don't have a lot of downtime. They come to me because they want to exercise and lose weight, but literally don't have the energy left to perform. So that's why I've developed this program to dial everything right in, to focus on rewiring their foundations of making energy, which is to replenish the adrenal system. I have been there and done it myself, trying to lose weight, not eating hardly anything, and overtraining, doing triathlon training and HIIT challenges 8 years ago, just before I became a personal trainer, ironically. So I had to heal that whilst I was doing personal training and upping my vitamin C levels, using the vitamin C protocols to heal the adrenals. And I know how frustrating it is kind of be that person in that body trying to get out and do the exercise that you want to, but your body literally can't do it. So I have collaborated with the lovely Liz here to help me in this program to open people's eyes to sometimes a real reality of what's going on in our bodies with our minerals and how potent they are to heal our nervous systems. Liz is you can find Liz at Alive and Natural Vitality. Liz is a trained RCP consultant and NLP practitioner, and had also a trained nutritionist. She's been in the health and wellness field for 19 years. She's a mum of 2, and you can find Liz in Currumbin. So Liz has also had her own experience doing a lot of training, and she will tell this story to get the picture of, a lot of, I don't know if Liz is a type A personality, but gung-ho at, hitting things hard and thinking that a body can keep on going and it, without hitting the wall. So I'm going to hand it over to Liz, and she can tell her story, and she can also introduce everyone to the ins and outs of RCP, how it's so different to how the medical world tests and looks at people, and just to, really open the discussion. So I hand it over to you, Liz.
And thanks, Deborah. It's awesome to be here. Thanks for having me. Hey, everyone. And yes, I think probably I fit into that type A category, or at least did. Just the feeling that if I was going to do something, I was going to do it well, and I was going to do the best I could and really go for it. So yeah, that's what landed me in adrenal fatigue about 7, 8 years ago. So so before that, I hadn't done a whole lot of training, and I just decided, I got this beam on it. I wanted to start running, doing obstacle races. That was so fun. So let's just paint the picture that within a year, I was doing sort of 10 or even more obstacle races, and competing as well. So I was second in Queensland at the time, elite obstacle racer, doing all the Spartan races and everything. And I was also training sort of 5-6 days a week, doing CrossFit, doing sort of a lot of kilometers running. And then I'd also enter CrossFit competitions as well, which are like severely grueling. All while at the beginning of this, I was still breastfeeding my daughter. I'd been either pregnant or breastfeeding for 8 years straight. So you can imagine how depleted my body was. And I was trying to push myself to do this
extremes,
ridiculous amount of stuff. So anyway, after 2 consecutive weekends, I did a massive CrossFit competition, and then I did the Spartan Beast and did it in 3 hours, 15 minutes. I think I came something like 9th elite female out of a few hundred. But anyway, it took me a really long time to recover. It was different to anything I'd had before. I felt like, after a cold where your lungs sort of taking, like, that feels like they're not quite healed yet. Like I couldn't fully breathe. It felt sort of hindered breathing. I started getting heart palpitations. I could barely get off the couch. I was so tired. And so the scariest thing was heart palpitations. And anyway, long story short, ended up seeing a integrative GP who told me I had adrenal fatigue. And it took me about 2 years to fully recover and stop getting heart palpitations. And that was with the advice of an integrative GP, rest and recovery, vitamin C, salt, all of those, salt in my water, all of those things. And then fast forward to just last year, where I began to get heart palpitations again. And this was due to more emotional stress. I had probably the most stressful year of my entire life emotionally. So I went through a separation and divorce with an abusive ex-husband. My baby dog died. I just loved him so much. I had to move house. I had to start supporting myself financially. My kids were finding it really stressful through the process. And so I had a teenager. She started rebelling and truanting and doing really badly at school. And also I had a new relationship eventually, which through COVID as well. And he was on the other side of the border. So all of this stuff. Anyway, I started getting heart palpitations towards the end of that year. This time though, with the RCP as my support, I had that, I'd been doing it for probably 6 months before that or more. And then I sort of upped my adrenal cocktails and my potassium and magnesium and also used emotional ways of releasing and processing what I was going through. And the palpitations probably lasted only maybe a month or 2 this time. So for my recovery. So that's a vast difference in recovery time, utilizing the root cause protocol and also emotional integrative techniques. So yeah, that's my story of fatigue.
Yeah.
Can
you explain to us the backbone of the root cause protocol, like from the iron background, burnout, inflammation?
Yeah, sure. So iron has been found to be the body's most irritating metal. And we're talking about excess unbound iron in the body. It's meant to be bound up and chaperoned by an enzyme called the peroxidase enzyme. So this is the active form of ceruloplasmin. So we focus strongly on ceruloplasmin in the root cause protocol. So because excess unbound iron actually moves around, Morley Robbins likes to say that it moves around the body like a 4-year-old with a hammer and creating oxidative stress and inflammation. So it's been found by many researchers to be the greatest source of inflammation and oxidative stress in our bodies. So what the root cause protocol does is seeks to improve our body's levels of ceruloplasmin and the activity of this peroxidase enzyme, which chaperones and this iron, it changes it from a really destructive form into a safer form, chaperones it around the body so that it can do the job it needs to do, which is the production of energy and creating energy from oxygen. And so therefore prevents oxidative stress and inflammation.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now I know I myself, I can't give blood because I opened my mouth to the medical world and had fatigue issues up 10 years ago. So do you still give blood?
Actually, I don't at this stage.
Mm.
Women who bleed regularly, see, okay, I'll just back it up a bit as to why giving blood is important.
Yeah.
So, iron, when it builds up inside our body, which it does as we age, it just naturally does that because our foods are fortified with iron, because we've been inevitably told we need to take iron supplements or even infusions. And just so there are all of these sources of iron coming into our bodies from our food that are not needed. So our body actually only needs about 1 milligram of iron from our diet per day. The rest, which is 24 milligrams, should come from our body's own internal recycling system of iron. And so this is what we're not really taught when we go to the GPs. I'm not sure if they're ever taught it actually.
Yeah.
So what happens is our red blood cells, which are holding iron, they have a timeline of only about 120 days, and then they get old. Then they get engulfed by a macrophage, which recycles all the bits and pieces. And then it's meant to take the iron back into the bone marrow to make more blood. But when we have a lack of ceruloplasmin and this peroxidase enzyme, the iron can't be released from that cell. So there's a doorway that the iron is pumped out of, which relies on ceruloplasmin in order to work. So if we have less ceruloplasmin than we need, the iron gets stuck inside our cells.
Yeah.
So when we are found to be anemic, it literally means there's no iron in the blood, but quite often it's actually stuck inside the cells, creating inflammation. So this is why the root cause protocol, after helping us build up adequate levels of ceruloplasmin and peroxidase so that the iron can be released into the blood, this is when it's safe to give blood, because giving blood, bleeding, is really the only reliable way to get rid of excess iron out of our body.
Yeah.
There are other ways that can help, but bleeding is the most useful way. And as women, we bleed once a month. So this is why we tend to be healthier, live longer than men. And this is why after menopause, when we're bleeding less or stop bleeding, we need to start looking at donating blood. And men should be donating blood at least 4 times a year.
Yeah.
But I want to stress as well that it is important to support your body's ability to create more blood cells and release the iron from its stores as well. So that's part of the root cause protocol.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for men that may be experiencing fatigue issues, in research and from the because I've done a lot of work with the research into the female triad, which is when people are overtraining and under eating, so their periods, start to leave the picture. This is for women, the periods start to leave the picture. The risk of injuries increase, and obviously, and so across for men, the signs and symptoms from what I've researched are the fatigue as well, but they also lose the testosterone and zinc. Obviously, it always comes back to zinc. So would you find that the same through the root cause protocol?
Yeah, so an interesting thing is, as we overtrain or stress our body, and undereating, overtraining is a stress on the body. So when that happens, our body produces cortisol, right?
Yeah.
If that's a normal thing, and there's this reaction in our body where cortisone is transferred into cortisol, right?
Yeah.
And then for the rest and recovery phase, we should be able to move it back into cortisone again. And in order to do that, we need magnesium. So if we're deficient in magnesium, we're less able to go back into rest and recovery, and we have this excess cortisol circulating. Also, then there's the what happens when we're under chronic stress, right? We're producing more cortisol all the time. So we've got this high cortisol. And then interestingly, another hormone that's produced in high amounts is aldosterone. And high aldosterone, what that does, it helps the body to conserve salt. It increases your blood pressure at the expense of zinc, magnesium, and copper. So these are things that leave the body when we have high aldosterone. So this is another reason we can have low zinc. Another reason is, as we are high stress, well, any stress response requires magnesium.
Yeah.
And so what happens is we burn through magnesium, end up deficient because we're in this chronic state of stress. And so low magnesium leads to mineral dysregulation.
Yeah.
As I said, it's like this cycle. You can't easily go back into the rest and recovery state. So it's just like this whole array of things adding to mineral dysregulation in the body.
Yeah, and that's what I think, because that's like just cramming it into people's heads, do you take magnesium? And so many people are unaware of what happens when you deplete of magnesium, and how that trying to relax and sleep and like it just all goes out the window.
Yeah,
because you just can't get into that state.
Yeah, definitely. Also, as I keep forgetting what I was going to say about that. Magnesium depleted. Oh, it came to me again. I forgot. Oh, that's right. So the body is infinitely wise, right? So when we're depleted in certain things, the body will try and make up for it by using other things.
Yeah.
So when magnesium is low, there are some things that are able to continue on if we use zinc instead. So another reason for zinc deficiency is that we're magnesium deficient.
Yeah.
So magnesium is probably the number one thing to supplement with in as many variety of forms as you can, because yes, it's our chill pill mineral.
Yeah.
Gives us calm energy. And and as I said, it's burned through at an accelerated rate in any kind of stress. I'm talking physical, emotional, metabolic stress.
Yeah. And is hence my background, all the magnesium.
Amazing.
I'd also like to discuss, so you're also an NLP practitioner. So for people who don't know what NLP is, could you elaborate on that for me?
Yeah, so NLP stands for Neuro-Linguistic Programming, and we utilize a kind of talk therapy to not only help shift the perspective of what somebody's going through, but also help reorganize the way things are stored in the brain. So it's really potent, the different processes we can go through using NLP to help people to process and release emotions that are sort of getting in their way or keep popping up and preventing them from being their best self. And things like self-sabotage we can look at, because it's a way of discovering first these dysfunctional patterns of thinking and beliefs that we have about ourselves that might have been created even before birth or in our early years. And we can go back and we can sort of look at it from another perspective, and we can create new beliefs that are more conducive to creating what you want in your life. So it's really a useful way to help. I love using it in conjunction with nutrition and root cause protocol. They just all fit in together so well, because the root cause protocol basically is like stress is the cause of all disease.
Yeah.
So if we can go into NLP and look at what beliefs are creating more stress for this person, and what beliefs can we sort of focus on and create that are going to help relieve that stress. Also, I've had clients before that have had, they didn't know it, but they had an underlying belief that eating healthy doesn't do anything because their grandmother had breast cancer and ate healthy, and died anyway.
Yeah.
And so this was a belief that she unconsciously had ever since that event. And so that was what was preventing her from eating healthy.
Yeah.
The point, it doesn't help anyway. So we were able to get to that and sort of rehash it and create something far more healthy and available for her to make changes in her life. And it's really made a huge difference for her.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. That's why I really like this program. It's really breaking so many myths with exercise, and because there's so many people, A-type personalities, you know, they go to the gym, they go into training sessions, and like the rest of their life is so busy, they think they're going to go into their session, get smashed and get results. And this 8-week program is all about taking it right back. Yeah. Get them, like so many people, like they do too much cardio, which actually takes away their ability more to build muscle. Yeah. So they're going to have 2 sessions of strength and conditioning sessions a week, and then incorporated with nutrition and mineral education, which you're going to be involved with as well. So then I'm not crossing any lines. But as I'm not a trained RCP consultant, that's where you get to take over for people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds like a fabulous program.
Yeah.
And people who've been used to smashing themselves and their bodies and training hard all the time, when they get told you can't do that anymore.
Yeah.
You can't run anymore. You have to walk.
Yeah.
Or you can't do CrossFit anymore. You have to do yoga. It's like, what? It's like no, I can't do that.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Yeah.
So I think what you're offering is like this sort of happy medium where it's another form of exercise that still gives you the satisfaction of that you're really doing something, and yet it's not stressing your adrenals. And
no. Yeah. It's completely taking it back. Like for that point, like there's no cardio in it, because people that are probably coming from that background, that they've done heaps of cardio, you know, and their diet might not be exactly doing themselves any probably doing themselves a disservice, and feel like they're banging their head against a wall. And so it's just stripping everything right back.
And the thing is that some amount of stress in the body is a good thing. It helps us build resilience if we have the mineral repletion and ability to build that resilience. If we're not depleted. I also wanted to say one foundational aspect of the root cause protocol is to not take ascorbic acid.
Oh, yes.
So one thing with adrenal fatigue and adrenal fatigue recovery is high amounts of vitamin C. And vitamin C, it's amazing, incredibly helpful, useful, necessary vitamin. But there is a difference between vitamin C and ascorbic acid.
Which of course, ascorbic acid is what you find generally everywhere, even in the health food shops. But of course, it's not the whole food vitamin C, so you're missing out on the copper.
And so not only are you missing out on essential aspects of the molecule and the synergy that it works with when you have it in a whole food form, even beyond that, it's destructive to ceruloplasmin. So ascorbic acid actually breaks apart the ceruloplasmin molecule, and so then you end up with more free copper, which isn't a good thing. What we're trying to do is bind up the copper into the ceruloplasmin molecule. Awesome.
All right, I think we're pretty much running out of time.
Wow.
Probably got a busy day ahead. So you can be found in Currumbin.
Yes.
And you work with people online and face-to-face?
Mostly over Zoom, but I also do house visits. Or people can come to my home.
Cool. Okay. So Elizabeth has put her details in this recording, which people are able to see.
Yeah.
So
I'll
if you
just
wanted
say
to get
them-
in, what was that?
Sorry, I'll just say them again as well,
Yeah.
just in case
Yeah.
it's hard to find. But yeah, so my website is myaliveness.com, and there you'll find a tab to book a consult if you wanted to book in with me. At the moment, for you guys, for this program, I'm offering a half price preliminary root cause protocol consult. So it's usually $120, and I'll be offering it for $60. And what this does is we can have a chat about where you're at. If you may have started the root cause protocol, you may have never heard of it before, and I talk to you about how it can help you with your unique problem, what's going on for you, and also what tests that I will ask you to go and get so that I can really have a good indication of how your body's dealing with stress and what's going on with your minerals. So this is a great consultation. You also get some personalized recommendations as well, but it's kind of like my introductory one, instead of booking in for a full initial consultation, which is better done after you have all your tests and everything. So yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
I could not recommend the RCP enough. It's and it's not a quick fix process, because it is a process of replenishing.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is, just to make people aware that the process that they may want to undertake, they'll probably want to feel better like straight away, but it might take, any amount of time just to get that body working together again, that synergy.
Definitely. And I mean, I do have clients that have started on some of my recommendations and reported feeling like they have far more energy within a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Or, even a week. And then others, it is a slower process. I guess it also depends on where you're at, sort of. Where, how long you've been in this process you're in. And
yeah, nothing ever happens overnight like we want it to.
No.
Okay, thank you so much. And
Yeah,
I can't wait for people to be a part of this process, to start to feel better.
Yeah.
And then really step into health again and vitality.
Yeah. It's really exciting to know that since I found the root cause protocol, it's really exciting to me that it's helpful to people who've tried so many different things. And it really makes a long-term difference right at the root cause.
Because when I first started, like, I went through everything. Like, I was going through the MTHFR process. Is it Dr. Ben? In the US, and then the clinic that set up in Sydney, and I couldn't process anything, like all the vitamin Bs and everything just made me feel worse. So I thought, and I've seen it heaps of times on the group page with people that are unwell and, feeling broken. That you're not going to be fixed. So it was a horrible place.
That's one of the biggest stresses we can have as well, emotionally. That when we get unwell, feeling like you don't know what's wrong, there's something wrong with me, I'm broken. It's really stressful. It's a journey, and I have to be patient, which is one of my biggest downfalls. Yeah. Yeah, I hear you.
All right, so we are going to chat again soon, and people will get to meet you and chat with you in our Facebook groups and in our Zoom meetings.
Amazing. I love that. Thanks so much for having me.
Okay, it's a complete pleasure.
Awesome.
All right, and we will talk soon.
Great.
All right, thank you so much. Okay.